It is the Martha Zoller Show, and I'm here with Dean Cain,
Hey.
who, I called him Superman, and that's
I'll take
okay.
it. I'll take
Is
it.
that how people remember you always?
It's usually the first thing. Yeah, no question about it. But I mean, if you're going to get called something for the rest of your life, Superman's pretty
But
decent.
who cares about that, right?
Well, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so I remember this. I'm going to date myself here, but you remember the show Dallas?
Of course I do.
Okay, and Bobby steps out because he wanted to I don't even remember his real Patrick,
Patrick
Dempsey. Yeah,
No,
Patrick.
Patrick Dempsey's.
No, it's Patrick something.
Oh my gosh, and
I know. It's a senior moment.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
Patrick, anyway, jumps out because he wants to do other things. And then 2 years later or a year later, they had to do this dream sequence to bring him back because he realized people saw him as Bobby Ewing.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. But you know what? Anytime you get a role like that and you're known for it, Joey from Friends or whatever it happens to be, I don't know, trying to run away from it or getting mad that the people call you that, I think that's just I think that's a poor way to act, to react to it. Ross from Friends, if you will, you can do other work, but those guys got paid extremely well for those. I didn't quite get the paycheck they got
No.
at Superman, but again, if I call me anything for the rest of my life, Superman's pretty good.
So the new movie is God's Not Dead, In God We Trust.
Yes.
And it's a great story about a congressional run, kind of good versus evil. This kind of the guy who played the bad guy was
He's
just
great.
fantastic. I've seen him play a bad guy in a lot of things. But it is such an amazing movie. So tell us about it.
Well, it's the story of a pastor who gets pulled into a congressional race, and then they start wrestling with separation of church and state. And at the opening with Ronald Reagan's one of my very favorite presidents. I got a chance to meet him. I've been able to voice documentaries about him. Love the guy, but he's we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we are a nation going under, and we have forgotten that here in this country. I don't think we've forgotten it so much as there's been an effort to remove God from everything. And I took my son out of public school and put him in a private Christian school because I wanted him to have that part of it and that understanding. And it's a question we all ask at some point in time. We all struggle with that. And so it's a very clear story about where we draw the line. And of course, God's not mentioned in the Constitution, but he is mentioned in the Declaration of Independence, in the Pledge of Allegiance. He's on our money, in God we trust. And you look back at what the founders were saying when they founded this country, and God was all over the place.
So you have been a pretty outspoken conservative. And there's a lot of people. There's a few of you. You can name them. Kelsey Grammer. There's a few of you that are out there. I think there are more than you think there
Of course
are.
there
Because people are afraid of not having work and all this kind of stuff. But I'm looking here. You've done a lot of work.
Oh gosh,
before and after you came out. As a conservative.
Oh my gosh.
It is.
It's funny to be a conservative. I came out as somebody who values God, who values his family, who values morals, but I don't judge others. So
Yeah.
I mean, what did I come out as? A normal human being.
Just a nice person.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I have an old friend that lives out in L.A., Michael Levine, who's a longtime publicist. I mean, he's but usually if you're using him, you're in trouble for something.
Of course,
okay?
he's a fixer.
But he moved to L.A. from Brooklyn, maybe 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And he's got the life. Okay, he's done very well. He lives on the beach. He's fantastic. But he says, Martha, I don't know why I stay out here. Because what I came out here for, which was California was a mecca.
Oh, it was incredible.
It was the place where middle-class people could go to do well.
Sure.
You worked for a defense contractor, or you worked for a manufacturer, or you worked wherever. And everybody didn't work in the movie business, but it was known for that.
Sure.
And now all you can say about California is the weather's good.
That's 100%. That's it. Well, because Gavin Newsom's running into the ground. Same thing he did in San Francisco. He was the mayor of San Francisco 15 years ago, or 25 years ago, I have a 10-year plan to end homelessness. All he's doing is throwing money at it, and they created this whole homeless industrial complex where you have these NGOs getting paid out the rump. And they're just making money hand over fist. It's all taxpayer money. The taxes are insane. The weather's gorgeous. I lived in Malibu, California. I said I would never leave. I was raised there. And the person who sort of made me see the light is my son. He graduated college a year ago, May, and when he was getting out, he was like, "Dad, why are we why are we living in California? I was like, well, because
I've always lived
yeah,
here.
this is it. It's wonderful, and we're upset. I'm in the house. I'll die in this house. And he's like, there's nothing for me to do there. And driving's everywhere, and you're always complaining about the regulations and the government and this, that, and why are we here? And I was stunned that he even thought that. He's like, when's the last time you've been in the ocean? I said, been like 5 years. He goes, why are we there? So we went and looked in Las Vegas near where my parents lived, and I found the most gorgeous house in the most fantastic neighborhood, and we made that deal. And I didn't think it could happen, but I have been ecstatic since that, and I feel free. I feel like they're going to pull me back in. Like somehow they're going to be like, I'm sorry, sir, you have to return to California. They were trying to tax it that way, too. Like if you leave, for 10 years, you got to pay taxes and things. It's just a horrible situation. Yeah.
You leave California and they wanted to charge you taxes for 10 years?
Yeah, on what you made. A portion of what you made would still have to be paid in California
Why?
taxes.
You don't live there anymore.
Of course. But they're losing all their tax base.
Well, they've lost 1 million. They lost 1 million people
and a congressional
since the last
seat.
census. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
First time.
First time in history. Well, because who doesn't want to be in the Golden State? It's perfect. It's got all the resources. It's huge. It's fantastic. Until you make bad choices with government.
We're talking with Dean Cain at the RNC convention, and in the old days when I was a buyer many years ago, I worked for a department store when I was young and gorgeous, and I was told then everything comes from California. You know what I mean? All the trends start in California. That was fashion-wise, all that kind of stuff. And you know what? They still say that. I mean, Kamala Harris says it. Gavin Newsom says it.
Yeah,
and I'm like
they're
saying,
lying.
that's not what we want, though, what happened in California. What we want is what's happening in Texas and Nevada and
Florida,
Georgia
and
Florida.
Tennessee.
Yes.
And Nevada. Yeah, it's true. 100% because California, the policies, listen, Kamala Harris is going to say that because she came from California, but, she was the first person, to drop out of the Democratic primary because she's not likable, and she wasn't likable then. I think she's less likable now. Gavin Newsom reminds me of did you ever see American Psycho? Patrick Bateman.
Yes,
he reminds me of that guy.
Too
Slick,
nice. Yeah.
slick, but he's going to stab you when you're not looking, and he's done that. With the policies in California, and when he starts talking about things on the national stage, I go, "Are you crazy?" I don't know how he stays in power in California, but I wouldn't have him in there. I mean,
So
if it's up to me, he's out.
Jeff in Oconee County said Patrick Duffy.
Patrick Duffy, yes.
That's right. So thank you, Jeff,
thank you,
for
Jeff.
letting us know that.
That was going to bug the heck out of me. I was going to look it up because I couldn't believe it because I know Patrick, and I'm like, well, I can't.
And he's great. He's got hair kind of like yours.
There we go.
Yeah,
Still,
that's
hang
what's
on
like.
to it.
Yeah, he can hang on to it. It's really nice. So what else are you going to do this week? I loved the movie. I'm looking forward to seeing the whole thing.
The movie's good. It's very good. I was in the first God's Not Dead, and that was done 10 years ago.
And it was different. You were a pastor or something.
No,
in
not
that
in
one.
this one. Not
Not
God's
this
Not
one, but
Dead.
the last
Not
one.
even the last one. God's Not Dead. I was a business guy,
That's right.
and I was an awful guy. His girlfriend who's going to marry, his fiance, tells him he has cancer. Tells him that she has cancer, and he's like, well, that doesn't really work with the plans that I have in my life, so you're out. And he was a jerk even to his mom and everything, and he had nothing redemptive about him. And then in this installment, if you will, he's a power broker. He's a very wealthy guy. He uses his money for power and influence, and he does that in this congressional race. And he is certainly not a believer in any way, shape, or form, so he doesn't have those morals holding him down. He'll do whatever it takes.
Did you have that moment where you found God?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. And listen, it's the moments. It's kind of like what happened to President. I'm not saying President Trump hadn't found God before, but you survive an assassination attempt like that. His tone, his demeanor, his countenance looks different. I'm so excited to hear him speak.
It's so it's so true because I was raised in the church. I did all the things. Said I was a Christian. All of those things, and then I had this moment when I was 29 years old where I was getting a divorce. I was in a house I didn't know how I was going to pay for, and I was as broken as you could be. And I saw that I read this book called The Road Less Traveled, where the first line is life is pain or whatever, something like
Something
that.
like that.
And it was just in that moment I just said, okay, I can't do this by myself.
It's true.
And it's true. And the rest of my life, I'm not saying perfect,
No,
but
of course.
but it's been a lot better.
Listen, you can do the best you can. We're all sinning every day.
Yeah.
We're doing things and we're trying to be better, but we're human. That's the whole point. Being a father was a big part of me.
So Dean Cain, where can people see this movie? Everywhere?
Yeah, September 12th. It's going to be everywhere.
Yay.
It's out in theaters. They can see it out there, and then the way things work now in the movie industry, 3 weeks later you'll be able to, find it everywhere on demand and whatever, because not that many people are going to the theaters these days.
I loved going to the movies, and I say it in past tense. I still go occasionally, not as often as I used to, because I just would rather sit in my living room with my big TV and watch it at
Christians
home.
do tend to come out to the
They
theaters.
do, and we do that appointment movie.
Yes.
Like we go with our small groups.
Yes.
We go with our groups, and political people do that too with some of the political movies that come out.
Truth.
And I think it's a good way to kind of see those kind of things.
It makes a difference.
It does.
When you get a lot of people seeing that movie and that message, and then
it is fun to
talking
see
about
it together.
Oh yeah,
and
there's
get the
something
box
about
of
that.
popcorn, which I can't stop thinking about because the girl across the way's got one.
Oh, does she?
And it's
I
like
haven't
movie popcorn.
I haven't eaten it today either, and I like the popcorn.
Dean Cain, thank you so much.
Honored. It's an honor.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it so much. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll keep talking with you.